Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick, and we've got ourselves a Giants-Texans preview. Justin, this is a brand new location for the pod. We've done it in many different locations. This is the first time from my parents' house because I lost power due to Hurricane Nicole.
You're making $500,000 and you're doing it in mommy's basement?
I know. Now, the people who say, these people and their mom. Well, one, we don't have basements in Florida, but finally I'm doing a podcast at my mom's kitchen table and the people have ammo to hit me with. So how are you? We'll do a lot of hurricane talk once Danny joins the show.
Yeah, he is the local weatherman. Hi, Bobby Skinner. We have a Giants game this Sunday. Can you believe it?
I can. This bye week took forever. I think it's because the Giants are actually good. It just felt like forever. We are playing the 1-6-1 Texans. We are at home. And this is the first game I'm going into this year, Justin, where there is no excuse for losing this game for the New York Giants. This Texans team sucks. They are the worst. They have the worst record in the NFL for a reason. You know, they have one win over the Jaguars and then one tie versus the Colts. They are this bad for a reason. On defense, there's so many ways to attack them and fits what the Giants do. It's like our strengths versus their weaknesses. And then offensively, even though they're a horrible offense, their one strength goes up against what the Giants do well on defense. So I'm excited for this game, but this is a game the Giants have to win. There is no sugarcoating a loss if that's what does happen on Sunday.
This is not just a game that the Giants just should win. This is a game that they should have handedly handled by the middle part of the third quarter.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they were going to be up by 3 scores, middle of third quarter, but we should be up by 10 points in the middle of third quarter.
If it's 10-3, 13-3, I know how, just the scope of a football game goes, and especially the Giants being a second half team. If it's 10-3, 13-3 at halftime, 10-6 at halftime, I'm all right. But this is a game where we are approaching the end of the third quarter. The Giants should have this game in hand.
Yeah, there is no excuse for not winning this game. And I think the Giants will, obviously.
Yeah.
So we're going to break it down. Because it was a bye week, I watched extra film, extra stats on these guys. First, this episode was brought to you by some special people. Damon Mule. I won't say where. By the way, if you haven't gotten stickers yet, they are coming. They literally came in the mail today. And I got 1,000 this time, so I'm going to be reckless with them. Max Murray. And then Jeffrey Lloyd, who I think Jeff Lloyd has been a fan for... No, that's Jeff Boyd. Oh, so it's just Jeffrey Lloyd.
Jeffrey Lloyd.
Justin, who are these people?
Related to Brandon Lloyd? Who's the linebacker?
Lloyd Christmas.
You don't like that.
No, Lloyd Christmas, that's the Dumb and Dumber character. I love Dumb and Dumber.
You don't like Christmas. If you want a reckless amount of stickers, go to patreon.com/talkinggiants. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers in the mail. You get access and hang out with us while we record the shows live. You can hang out and chat with us. Chat with the rest of the Patreon too. Get to be part of that community. And there's some shirt raffles twice a month. Patreon.com/talkinggiants. I have not a hot take, but I have a bold prediction. Do you want to hear it?
No. Yes.
Okay. The Giants have scored 30 points, over 30 points. Now, this could be in a game that they have won or lost. They have scored over 30 points 10 times since 2016. This Sunday will be the 11th time that they have scored over 30 points for the first time in a long time. That didn't make any sense.
What the Texans do defensively just plays into the Giants' hands. They're the 19th ranked defense. So you look at that, that's not horrible, but they're a lot worse than what that looks like. Their rushing defense is awful. Awful. And it's awful in so many different ways, Justin. They're 32nd in rushing yards allowed per game, 180.6. There's basically a 32-yard difference between them and 31st. That 32 yards, that's the difference between 31st and 9th. That's the difference between them at last place versus the second to last place. They are by far the worst rushing team in the NFL. And there's been bad rushing teams we've played this year where it's they are bad at this type of rush defense. They're even the Giants, for example. They're a bad rushing defense, but doesn't mean you could just line up and run against them. Like they're bad against misdirection. Like you just line up and get in heavy formations, which we'll talk about the Texans doing. You're not going to have a lot of rushing success versus the Giants. They give up 5.5 yards per carry, which is the second worst in the NFL, actually the same as Giants, but they just give up volume, 33 attempts. And that's why I think it's going to be so great. Because one, you can hit this Texans defense for volume, but they also give up big plays, Justin. Like they give up big plays at a high volume. I was watching their film. Their linebackers, like it makes Tay Crowder and Jalen Smith look like studs, how bad their linebackers are. Like they are very slow to process. Like there was even times I was watching it was the Texans or the Titans just running simple wide zone, which is what the Titans do. The entire offensive line steps one way, and the linebackers are just sitting there, read. It's like, it's zone, dude. Just step with them. You don't have to read anything. Like, all you have to do is read one step and go. They're sitting there. And then there's times where they're over-aggressive, which gets them out of their run fits and leads to big plays. So I think Saquon's going to go off in this game. Like, I think this is a Saquon 25 carry game, like a 160, 170 yard rushing game. Like Saquon should get back the rushing lead after this game because we should be hitting them with volume. I think the passing offense will be successful in this game too. But with the way the Giants have been this year, there's no reason for them to not hit them with volume.
Yeah, I agree with running the ball and volume and things of that nature, and I especially feel good about that because of the Texans' offense and how they're not very good. But man, Mike Kafka talked about how they took a long look at the Giants' offense and some things that they want to do differently over the bye week. And I think every coach is going to say that. Every coaching staff takes a long look at what the team does over the bye week, and they want to implement some changes, yada, 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 in the second half of the season. I want the Giants to throw the ball down the field more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if there isn't 30-plus attempts of Daniel Jones this game, have the trust in your offensive line that they're going to protect. I mean, Jerry Hughes is the biggest threat to get back to the quarterback, a guy that I actually wanted the Giants to sign as a
Jerry
veteran
Hughes
presence.
is playing well. Like he has 7 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and actually 1 interception, which he would lead the Giants in all of those categories. He lines up on both. He lines up basically even left and right. So
I wanted the Giants to sign him. I'm taking credit for that.
I remember talking about him, like as him being an affordable free agent. Tyree Phillips, so you got to give him help there. Obviously, Andrew Thomas, I'm not worried about him versus Jerry Hughes. But besides that, they don't get to the passer. They rush 4, they don't blitz, and they live in the Lovie Smith Tampa. Lovie Smith is their head coach, so they live in that Lovie Smith Tampa 2. So there is ways to aggress. The Tampa 2 works if you can rush the passer really well. They can't.
Yeah, I'm not even looking for. I would like to see some vertical shots. But if they're only going to rush 4 and they're going to drop guys into coverage, just throw past the sticks. I want to see attempts of at least 10-plus yards. I want to see gains of between 15 to 19 yards. Things that the offense has shown in the past that they can do, even under last year's offense, through the first 4 weeks of the season. Even though they were missing some 20-plus yard plays, they were getting 15 to 19-yard plays. So I get that this team at times lives and dies by their running game. I get it. It's been working. The passing offense also is working well, too, at times throughout this year, because especially you have the threat of Daniel Jones's legs where he scrambles. But I want to see gradual improvement. This is the second half of the season. This is going to be a playoff team, and we are playing a team this week that we should handily beat. I want to see this offense improve, especially the passing offense. I know the running game can be there. You're muted.
The running game, I think it should be hit with volume. Like I said, their defensive linemen, they don't spill when they're pulled on. Their linebackers are horrible, whether it's just playing zone or misdirection. Really, when they're at their best is when they bring Jalen Petrie in the box and he just screams down, which is again just hey, we got to make sure we account for Jalen Petrie when he's down in the box.
So let me ask you this. So let me ask you this, because you're talking about hitting the running game with volume, and I'm talking about I'm not dismissing that, but I just at least want to see Daniel Jones's yards per attempts or his air yards at the end of this game be a little bit higher.
Well,
let me ask you this. Would you prefer to attack the Texans with heavy personnel, or do you want to go back to, remember the Giants' game plan that they had against the Titans week 1, where Saquon Barkley had a lot of his attempts via the shotgun? If these linebackers are bad, I kind of want to run like maybe 11 personnel, but under center. 11 personnel under center, where you have the threat of the pass, the threat of the wide receivers. Kenny Golladay is back. I guess we have to talk about him. The threat of the pass, the threat of the wide receivers, but you can trust your offensive line to get to the secondary level because their front seven is not very good. What do you think about that? How would you attack it?
That's tough because I would like to get into some heavy stuff versus their run defense. But at the same time, we don't have Daniel Bellinger, so the heavy formations don't work as well. I hate the cop-out, and what I actually think is that there should be a little bit of a mix of both.
Sure.
Like almost even like a 50-50 split, because in the passing game, like you mentioned, like, having a higher yards per attempt, this is a game where they play that Tampa 2, where you can get to some of those 3-level reads, and you can do it in different ways. You can, bring the deep route from the backside, and you can attack downfield out of play action. Remember some of the stuff we even saw early in preseason, some staples of the offense where they get under center, and you can do that out of 11 personnel, 1 tight end personnel in that. And then they ran that smash concept, which is that little 2-man, it beats, the cover 2. Like it's a 2-man, it's a 2-man high-low read. That's something they can run. So I think you see more traditional passing, but I also, because they're so bad, like, to me it'd be a waste to not rush at the Texans with high volume. Like this isn't like the Giants need to run the ball high volume every week, but this, to not hit this Texans team with high volume, I think would be a waste.
Let's talk about Kenny Golladay.
So I want to talk about him a little later in the show, maybe. But what are you like? I don't have any like, and I was defending him in the preseason, saying like he's not as bad as people make him out to be. He's as bad as people made him out to be in the beginning of the season. Part of that was he didn't play, but I really don't know what to expect out of him, because if we could get last year's level of play out of him, that's a huge upgrade. But I don't know if Kenny Golladay is even the same player he was last year.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect out of him either. I don't have much expectations, but I also think part of it is nobody knows what to expect, because we still haven't gotten like the full read of what Kenny Golladay could be. I mean, really the only substantial time that we saw him really targeted this year is when he drops a pass. Now that is a very, very bad evaluation that's on Kenny Golladay. I kind of want them to force the ball to him a little bit this week.
That's the one thing that you can hope for, is because they did not really make him part of the progressions when he was playing.
Right.
But the only time where he was like the main part of the progression this year was like that slant that he dropped versus, well, no, it wasn't even like a clean drop, but it was like that back shoulder slant on 4th down that they threw to him.
If we were playing basically any other team on our schedule, maybe besides the Colts, just because of how abysmal they are, but especially if we're playing a divisional game, if we're playing against the Vikings, I'm saying do not force the ball to him. But this is a game to see, what do you got? This is a game to see, what do you have in your players that could be difference makers possibly for the second half of the season. And if Kenny Golladay is kind of force-fed the ball a little bit against the Texans and he doesn't do anything and he drops passes, well, guess what? Then I'm really, really done.
And we know that Golladay and this coaching staff aren't the greatest of friends. And Galladay's kind of made that obvious, and even in press conference clips too, where he's, taking little, not digs at them, but made it clear, like, I'm out there playing for my teammates, not coaches, and in one other interview, he said coaches are coworkers, not friends. But Joe Shane saying at that press conference, saying like, we hope to get Kenny Golladay back. Like he's a part of the plan. Like and Darius Slayton's emergence, we talked about this in the beginning of the season. We got heat for being like, well, the Giants won their first 2 games, but we were like, you got to play your best players. Like this whole, effort, teamwork, practice thing. It's like, it's all cute, but it sucks when David Sills is your, number 1 wide receiver. Like eventually you got to play Darius Slayton and Kenny Golladay. So I do think he's going to be a big part. He's going to get a good chunk of, he'll get over 50% of the snaps. Like I'm pretty confident of that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about their offense. Oh, and the last thing is they have the second most missed tackles in the NFL. So Saquon, make them miss some tackles.
Do your thing.
Daniel Jones, make them miss some tackles too.
Yeah.
The Texans offense.
Whoa! Before we get to the Texans offense, we got to talk about True Classic. The holidays are here, and there's plenty of t-shirt cheer. Thanks to our sponsor, True Classic Tees. True Classic Tees are a gift for you, for her, and a great present for any guy in your life. True Classic is on a mission to maximize men's confidence by making them look good. I like looking good. You like looking good. We all like looking good. Trust me when I say that there is a gift that the ladies will appreciate too. When you look good, ladies like that too. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men worldwide look great in their tees, and now you can save big while you do so. Get 25% off True Classic with my exclusive link, trueclassic.com/Giants. And the discount doesn't stop there. You'll save even more during their site-wide sale. Support our show and check them out at trueclassic.com/Giants. So what I love about True Classic Tees is that it's for any kind of shape of body. If you're ripped, if you're skinny, or if you're a little chubby, True Classic has got you covered. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com/Giants. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. 25% off trueclassic.com/Giants. Santa won't be the only one slaying thanks to True Classic. Slaying. Santa slay? You'll be glad you did.
You'll be glad you did. Santa's not real. The Texans offense.
He's not, you're right. Good observation.
Texans offense. Do you ever think about how weird it is like to just lie to your kids? Anyways, Texans offense.
No, I don't have children. They're really bad, Bobby.
They are. So here's what I will say with the Texans offense. They're ranked 28th and scoring at 16.6 points per game. The Los Angeles Rams, the Denver Broncos, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Indianapolis Colts should be ashamed of themselves for putting up less points per game than this offense.
The Los Angeles Rams, did you say?
Yes. You should be ashamed of yourself for putting up less points per game than this Texans offense. They are 26 in passing at 188.6 yards per game. You're like, well, they got Dameon Pierce. Good running the ball team, right? No, they are 25th in rushing, 101.9 yards per game. Dameon Pierce is essentially their offense. You know, like there's no other rushing outside of Dameon Pierce. We'll talk about him. He's sixth most in the NFL with yards, sixth most in attempts as well. Like they feed it to him. He has 148 carries, 678 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. The last 4 games, he's gotten 22 carries a game. They just get into heavy personnel, whether it's, 2 tight end, 3 tight end, put the fullback in there. Even there's times they'll use Rex Burkhead as the fullback. They will motion the fullback to the play side, and they will just run basic zone and power plays. Like they're not misdirection. Like, so the Giants are bad at stopping the run, like second worst, tied with the Texans for yards per carry allowed. But this is a game where I think the Giants should be able to stop the Texans' run game, because this is where this is like playing the Texans and Derrick Henry and being like Wink Martindale had held Derrick Henry for under less than 4 yards per carry. Like Pierce wins because he has the 3rd most broken tackles in the NFL with 51. He has the 7th most yards after contact in the NFL. Well, guess what? The Giants are the 2nd best team in the NFL when it comes to missed tackles. They have 25. The best team in the NFL, I can't remember who, has 24. So the Giants, when they're not facing all this misdirection and stuff, well, guess what? They play their gaps. They stack the box, and they do. That's when Tate Crowder and Jalen Smith can be awesome. And we can be like, wow, those guys actually had good games. And then you have your D linemen eating up front, which we'll talk about. Their interior offensive line. So, and then again, we shouldn't miss tackles versus Dameon Pierce. I know we'll miss some, but if we're not missing tackles on guys like Derrick Henry, we shouldn't be missing tackles on Dameon Pierce. Like I have no fear of Dameon Pierce this week.
Yeah, you mentioned how the offense is really built off of Dameon Pierce breaking tackle, yards after contact, stuff like that. Dameon Pierce yards before contact per attempt is 1.9. When you are below 2, I mean, that's 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Giants level bad when your running backs are averaging less than 2 yards before contact per attempt. That's not very good. Wink Martindale talked about how Dameon Pierce runs angry. He had a very good quote during the coordinator pressers. It's like, I don't know what anybody did to him, but he's running.
Dan Mullins didn't play him. That's what happened to him.
He's running pretty angry. Yeah, it's so crazy. I was listening to Sirius XM NFL radio. It's like, did you know that Dameon Pierce never had a college start at Florida? Didn't have a single start, which is kind of crazy. So good for Dameon Pierce. He knows that offensive rookie of the year. It's kind of creeping up on there for him, and I hope he gets it because he's kind of a fun dude. He had like the best.
I hope Chris Olave gets it because I made a futures bet on that when I was in New Jersey.
You predicted him, but he had like the best play that we saw, like the Senior Bowl, like during the practices, like the most.
And it wasn't even a run; it was a block. It was like when they like at the end of the practice where they're like, "All right, we're gonna do some one-on-ones." It was one of the bigger linebackers. It might have even been one of the Georgia linebackers, like Tyndall or somebody, and he just popped him in the mouth, like. Some of the stuff, I think that was Dan Campbell coaching that was doing it. I guess Dan Campbell and Robert Saleh are both like raw guys, so it could have been either one. But I think it might have been Dan Campbell. But again, like he lives off of missed tackles, which like I think this defense will be very coached up, like, you know, in detail. And like, we got to make sure we're tackling this dude, gang tackle this dude, get to the ball on him, because you don't have to think much playing this rushing offense because they don't throw misdirection at you. And Laremy Tunsil and Kenyon Green are good run blockers. We'll talk about Kenyon Green as a pass blocker later, but the rest of them really aren't.
Yeah, no, I think Scott Questenberry.
I mean, Laremy Tunsil's good. I think he's the second best left tackle in the league right now.
Yeah, wonder who the first is. Scott Questenberry is very, very bad. But something that is different from the last few weeks for the Texans is that they are getting Brandon Cooks back, who, you know, not going to lie, I was hoping that Brandon Cooks would have taken another week off of being a little sour that he wasn't traded. Shame that he's actually being a good employee of the Texans. And Nico Collins is also coming back for them as well. Then I think Philip Dorsett's their slot guy. So they got all three of their wide receivers. I think they're going to be back this Sunday.
Yeah, their passing game is pretty embarrassing scheme-wise, though. Like I guess they're scheming around some of their players a little bit, like, and Davis Mills is part of that. They just kind of run those play action. Like, it kind of reminds me of Jason Garrett, to be honest. You know, they run play action out of those heavy personnels on early downs, and then on third down they get into some drop back. But one, their offensive line's bad, and their stuff is very easy to telegraph. Like, you look at, like, Davis Mills has 8 interceptions in 8 games. A lot of that is just like, man, it's easy to see what they're running, and guys are jumping what they're running. And getting interceptions. I know the Giants only have 1 interception this year, and it was on a broken play, so I'm not counting on that for the Giants this week. You know, but once they get into third and long, they have, like, Kenyon Green's have been a good run blocker, but he's struggled pass blocking wise this year. And I think Dexter Lawrence and Leo should eat this game. You know, those guys should be eating consistently. I think those guys should eat. When Kayvon's going against Tunsil, no hope, but Titus Howard on the other side can be, you can get some win against him. So, you know, if Kayvon can beat Laremy Tunsil a couple times this week, it is going to turn the Andrew Thomas conversation so toxic, because that's the guy who's been preached as left tackle 1 this year, which again, I'm not mad at you, but both, like, Cooks and Collins are averaging 50 yards per game on 60% catch rates, which is like, that's Kenny Golladay last year with Daniel Jones, where we're saying it's not as bad as you think. It's actually even worse than what Kenny Golladay put up last year. With Cooks, you got to worry about him on a double move because they run such bland stuff. They will hit you with a double move. I mean, we saw Adoree get beat with that versus Tyler Lockett the last game we played.
Yeah, Leonard Williams against Seattle. 1 sack, 5 solo tackles, 8 total, 1 tackle for loss, 5 QB hits. That's a pretty elite line. If they can put him in the middle, put him up the middle. Hopefully O'Shane will be back this game for the Giants defense. So hopefully, I
think he will be. Timon Fox, though, I think Timon Fox has been better than O'Shane Ximines this year. But O'Shane Ximines has had a couple flashy plays. Like, I think Timon Fox is, like, playing himself into, like, maybe even a role higher than O'Shane.
And I think Timon Fox had a tackle for loss against Seattle too. Like, there was one nutso
He did.
play.
He had 2 tackles for a loss.
Yeah, there's been a couple nutso plays that Timon Fox has had. Even think back to Timon Fox is also, like, the one player that I feel extremely confident in a situation where if there's a broken play in the fourth quarter, where the defense has to be, like, in this crazy wacko formation. Remember that guy that he popped against the Jets? And then there was another play that he made this year.
It's the Hail Mary. It's like when they're trying to get the sidelines at the end of the game. It's like it's protecting the Hail Mary. It was the Jaguars game. He did that too.
Yeah, Timon Fox is just going to level you. But my whole point of bringing up Leonard Williams is that I hope that these edge guys are okay so that Leonard Williams can continue to line up in the interior. I don't want Leonard Williams lined up as an edge rusher and I don't think he's going to get home that way. His best production is going to come when he's lined up in the A gap or the B gap. So go Leonard Williams. Bobby, I want to talk about Xavier McKinney.
Okay, that's funny because I was like, it was in my head. I was like, we should talk about McKinney because we haven't talked about him on a podcast.
Yeah.
So he hasn't put up the numbers this year. So people will be like, well, what impact? We talked about it going into the season. Like, he's not going to have the numbers this year because of his role in the defense, which is playing that single high safety. We really don't have a single high safety on the team. Dane Belton, I would assume, will play there, but
he was doing that in camp.
Julian, but that was. But Belton didn't play a lot there in college. He doesn't have the same range that McKinney has or instincts. Love will be the signal caller, but will be the signal caller from the box, which I guess linebackers do. McKinney doing this screws the Giants. And what are your thoughts on it in general?
I mean, you can be like in both camps of he shouldn't have put himself in that situation, but he's also human, and we all do stupid shit at times, but he did it, and that's kind of it. I do hope the Giants, though, because he did this, he shouldn't be cut, he shouldn't be traded, they shouldn't nullify his entire contract, but the Giants need cap space. So if the Giants can use whatever cap that they can save based off of him doing this stupid shit, I hope that they do. Now,
I don't know if they can. I asked Duggan about it, but here's what I'll say is because you know how it is. There's always two extremes with stuff like this, where there's people like, oh, if they live life, don't get on them. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, and then there's the side that's like, this is Plaxico Burress. It's like, well, let's relax a little bit here. But he was. I mean, unless it was a freak accident, they were screwing around doing something dumb. Which again, like I've done dumb. I joked about that video. I posted that video of us flipping the car, being like me and my brother on a sightseeing tour. So like I'm not gonna kill him. Like how could he be this stupid? But it is dumb, And also his media session kind of sucked too, which is like that doesn't help you.
I'm dying. I'm all right.
Yeah, you had a little cough button there. Which again, media sessions don't really matter at the end of the day.
I'm not like infuriated with Xavier
No, but it
McKinney.
Sucks. Like we just lost a very key player for the Giants.
Oh yeah, but it's kind of like it happened. You know what I mean? I'm kind of the boat, and this is why I kind of like. It's kind of crazy how I'm bringing him up in this same thing, but like I'm the type of fan where if you're not on the field for me, I don't care. Like when people talk about Odell, I could care less about like what Odell does because he's not on the Giants. So Xavier McKinney, you're not suiting up on Sunday. Kenny Galladay, while you're hurt. Tony, while you're hurt. It's like if you're not on the Giants and if you're not on the field, as my fan brain goes to like I really just don't care about you. Now, what does suck, Bobby, is he like
you got a next man up mentality? I like that.
Yeah, no, I do. It's just like how my fan brain works, which I know these people are human beings. I root for these guys, but if you're not on the field for me on Sunday, then I'm not going to really care. But this does suck. So it's going to suck even more, and I think I'm going to get mad even more. Is Xavier McKinney like out for the year? Because it first started off with being like, oh, he's just out for a few weeks, and then I feel like now it's trending more towards he's out for longer.
Yeah, they're cryptic about it. So I don't know. But that's where I'm pissed. Is like he did put like it is in the contract, he put himself in a stupid situation, doing dumb shit. And listen, we've all been there. Like, yeah, I get it. Like you said, I don't want his captainship taken away. But this is a learning lesson for him and the rest of the team. But also it's a learning lesson that screws the Giants pretty heavily as they're trying to make the playoffs down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't think it's a learning lesson because Jihad Ward was literally asked about it point blank. He's like, "Yeah, I ain't gonna stop doing what," because he was doing.
They asked Jihad Ward about it.
Jordan, I think Jordan put it out that I don't know if he asked, but somebody asked Jihad Ward about because there was a picture of him on Instagram that he was doing a wheelie on an ATV, and Jordan put out the tweet and said Jihad Ward's like, yeah, I don't care about that. I'm a grown man and I will deal with the consequences. So
Well, that's just great, Jihad. Thanks for that.
Hottie.
I'm trying to find that tweet, but
it happened 1 or 2 days ago.
Hold on, give me. Oh, Jordan, Jihad wasn't with Xavier Mckinney when he suffered the can. He was home in Texas. Lots of people made the natural, like dirt bikes plus to see it. Okay, all right, whatever. That was funny though. Like I was like, don't look at Jihad Ward's Instagram.
Everybody immediately did.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the segment with Danny. First, this episode was sponsored by SeatGeek. Live events are back, which means you can get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek with promo code Giants. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, they're a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. I got the app on my phone. I was actually on it today looking for tickets for the Commanders game December 4th. Make sure to come out, people. Whether it's football, concerts, basketball, baseball, festivals, or more, SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. Again, go to that Commanders game. SeatGeek rates every ticket from 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting a good deal. Green means good, red means bad. I don't think I've ever seen a 0 on there, though. Like, it's hard to find bad deals with SeatGeek. Every ticket on SeatGeek is backed by their buyer guarantee, so you can shop for tickets with confidence. We all know we need that confidence, fellas. Don't worry, we've got the hookup. Use code GIANTS for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code GIANTS. Make sure you click in the link in the description to download the app. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back to the show, and we want to welcome on our meteorologist, the only meteorologist who covers the Giants, Danny King. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, yes. I'm proud to have the moniker of being the only meteorologist that covers the Giants. And a loaded weather forecast today. First off, 52 degrees at MetLife on Sunday against the Houston Texans. It's going to be partly cloudy, beautiful weather. Beautiful weather coming out of the bye week, which we lost, which you guys have said before. We lost a bye week, but that's besides the point. 52 degrees.
So no rain?
No rain. 4%, so it's basically nothing, no chance of rain. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful Sunday at MetLife. And then, before we get to trivia, we actually, another special Talking Giants weather segment. It's Hurricane Nicole. It's hit in Florida. And I thought the only bet I couldn't make it down there. So I said my trusted associate, basically Jim Cantone of the football meteorologist world, hurricane reporter Bobby Skinner, was down there in Florida getting live reports. So we'll kick it over to Bobby in the middle of the storm. Bobby.
Field reporter Bobby Skinner reporting from Hurricane Nicole. It's windy, it's rainy. I wanted to do this with Danny King, but he bailed on me. My fence blew down, and I made the local news. So, pretty successful hurricane for the state of Florida. It feels like my shoes are blowing away at this moment. I'm hoping to get a wave to crash up on me, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And I bet this is pretty windy. I'm Bobby Skinner, talking Giants.
All right, so this hurricane actually hit us. Like, Hurricane Nicole is actually a real hurricane. By the way, this was the first time a hurricane hit the east coast of Florida since the 1930s. Like, this doesn't happen in November.
I was very confused when I read there was a hurricane coming to Florida. I thought, I'll be honest, like the whole Twitter blue thing, I thought it was just like a fake tweet. I was like, oh, there's a hurricane coming to Florida?
I didn't really acknowledge it until a day before. I'm like, oh, you should actually do a little bit of prep for this hurricane, and then had to go into hurricane rush mode. This one, man, I got some like good stuff out of it. Like, the beaches were pretty crazy, a lot of trees down. Also, we went to like this like boat ramp, and it was pretty muddy. And my brother does a donut in his truck, and so I take my Crown Vic and do a donut in it. And we had no idea, like the Fox 35 local news was there. They run over, and they're like, do it again. And so we're both doing donuts at the same time. And they posted that on the news and like social media and stuff. So I was like, where are you posting that? I was like, I have a lot of followers. They will absolutely love this.
I thought it was a joke, because I literally thought that you just took
credit for it. I sent it to Kyle, our social media guy for John Boy Media. I was like, this is me. And I was like, post this, and he didn't post it.
Oh, come on.
What?
John Boy Media is all about lifestyle now. They're not about sports anymore. So that's like That's like perfect content.
I know.
I honestly hate that.
Well, I didn't say to post it. I just sent it to Kyle, being like, "This is me." He's like, "I don't know if I believe you," and I was like, "No." I was like, "I promise."
Oh, come on. That's like, what would you rather post? Us touching shit in boxes, or Bobby Skinner doing donuts?
Touching shit in boxes. That's
what
great
we've done. We've done like blind touch tests. That's what we've done in the office.
It was the middle of a hurricane. It's a muddy field, and there's just two dudes doing donuts. How is that not something you would want to post?
I thought you took credit for it just because you were making jokes about.
Yeah, sometimes I just lie on Twitter just to mess with people.
No, but hey, Saquon Barkley, did he not take a piss on Soldier Field? But I thought you were taking credit for it because of the whole thing of Xavier Mckinney on a quote unquote sightseeing tour. So I thought you were just continuing that joke, but that was actually you.
Yeah, that was actually us. They posted on Facebook. My brother tagged my mom. Was like, "Look, Mom, we made the news."
Nah, that's great.
All I know is
I woke up this morning to just by saying, "Did you see my news cameo?" I was like, "Oh, I wonder if he got interviewed for the news." And then I just see two cars doing donuts. I'm like, "Oh, this might be the greatest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah, that was very like there's very few things that have for almost 4 years of talking Giants brought me the joy of like making the news, doing donuts in my car. The comments were, someone's like, dude's whipping it in the Vic. Like I have an old lady's car, and I was just I've been doing burnouts a lot lately in that thing too, just because it's so much fun. Like my brother's birthday, we went to a restaurant, and before we leave, my brother just gives me the look and just takes his finger and spins it like that. I was like, "It's your birthday," and just smoke out the entire parking lot. I also saw like a rescue. They rescued this guy out of the. This guy was just like on a raft in the river.
Nice.
And so they had to get the helicopter, like the rescue guy from the helicopter, and rescue him out of the river. Like I saw that. I didn't see the actual rescue, but I saw the helicopter and the guy going down the cable from the helicopter. Yeah, it was a pretty gnarly hurricane. And then in my backyard, the little carport area has an aluminum roof, and this the entire night just slamming. So, but I can sleep right through that stuff. All right. Anything else before we get in? Oh, trivia. What's the trivia this week?
Trivia, nice and simple. Which Giant has the most sacks against the Houston Texans in a single game?
O.C. Umenyiora, 2010.
I was going to say O.C. Who got sacks in 2014?
Robert Ayers. I'm serious.
So the Texans are very young, so the 2000s, so...
I know O.C. Umenyiora.
I'm just going to say Tuck, because there's only like four guys it could be that have played the There's only like four guys who have played the Texans twice as pass rushers for the Giants. So I'm going to say Tuck.
It came in Week 12, November 24th, 2002. It was Kenny Holmes.
Hey, Kenny Holmes. I've answered Kenny Holmes for a trivia question like twice in the history of trivia. Never right. Finally, Kenny Holmes gets it.
Tonight was Kenny Holmes. He had 3 sacks.
So it was one game or just all time versus the Texans?
One game.
Oh, I answered it. I wouldn't have guessed Kenny Holmes anyways, but I guessed it all time.
But yeah, it was against David Carr, soon to be backup of the New York Giants later down the road. So he got destroyed by Kenny Holmes in a single game, and then all of a sudden he became our backup a couple years later.
The one guy that Kenny Holmes sacked a ton was Derek Carr or David Carr.
David Carr. Just adds up.
All right. Let's do our fantasy draft where we pick players from the Giants and their opponent to preview some matchups and competition. Justin will be picking first, but don't let that fool you. He's in last. He has 226 points. He's 56 points back. Danny is picking second. He's also second in the league. He's 234.7 points. He has 48 points back of me, who has 283.2 points. But again, 1 week can totally change this. So, Justin, you have the first pick this week, and which I think is a 2-man draft.
Yeah, I really want to do the stats of what does my year look like without week 1. Like, if week 1 didn't happen. So, basically, weeks 2 through 9, 10, how many weeks we are in right now. So, I'll do the stats on that eventually. But Saquon Barkley, first pick, simple, easy. I got to start to come back.
This is the game where Saquon can, obviously you need good performances from your 2 and 3, but this is the week where it's like it builds up and you just have a giant week, because I could see Saquon having like a 35-point week on his own. I'm going to try and see what the difference would be if it wasn't for week 1. So Danny, you have the second pick.
Oh, I have the second pick. Oh, I completely misread that thing. That's fantastic. I'm going to be taking the Houston Texans running back.
I'm already writing it down.
What Pierce? Something Pierce.
Rex
Damian
Burkhead.
Pierce. Yes,
Yeah,
Rex Burkhead.
Burkhead.
I love Rex Burkhead. I mean, Damian Pierce has just come on. I know he has some sort of injury, but I feel confident that he'll be playing this week, and we'll just have a game because he's the Texans offense at points.
So if you eliminated week 1, Justin, you would be down by 14 points.
Hey, I'm down by 56 now. Week 1 kind of screwed me.
Yeah,
Let's
you were
go.
down, 40. Going into week 2, you had a 42-point deficit. Insane. Who did you pick? You picked Kadarius Toney,
Oh, there it is.
Robert Woods, Daniel Bellinger, who didn't have a catch, Wan'Dale Robinson, who had 1 catch for 5 yards. I think Kadarius Toney was maybe your leading point. Nah, no, it was Robert Woods. I had Saquon. I didn't even have anybody else besides Saquon, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Justin took Daniel Bellinger at any other point in the season, he would have gotten him points, basically. Like, at week 5 and on, I would say.
Yeah, basically every week besides week 1. All right, so this is a 2-man draft, man, and it's hard to pick wide receiver 1 on the Giants' opponent because Adoree Jackson does a good job versus them, and then the Giants don't really have a true wide receiver 1. I think because of some of the, not blitzing, I think Wan'Dale Robinson is... I think they really want to get him involved, and they know the wide receiver issue, and it's like, well, we did the one guy that we're invested in long term, we're gonna go, and then I'm gonna take the Texans wide receiver 1 in Brandon Cooks. Just simple logic there. But Wan'Dale Robinson, first round pick, has not earned that, but I'm going for it. I'm swinging for it this week. Danny, what's your second pick?
Who'd you go again, Bobby?
Wan'Dale and Brandon Cooks.
That makes sense. Understandable. I'm gonna go Darius Slayton this week.
Dude, we're going directly down the Bobby Big Board right now.
I mean, well, that's not a good sign for me. Darius Slayton, obviously, he's gonna get catches. He's bounced back from the struggles he had last year, and I think he's back in good faith with this coaching staff.
Justin, you have back-to-back picks.
Yeah, this is tough.
I know you're not hitting the next guy on my big board.
Tough. I'm gonna go Nico Collins.
Makes sense.
Because now we're in the 3rd round, right, Bobby?
Yes.
Second round, but you could I mean, it doesn't matter for you because you get back-to-back picks, 2nd and 3rd round.
All right, but I can trade this guy if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
So Nico Collins is questionable. He has, I said in the first part of the show, he has been a limited participant in practice the last couple days, but he's still questionable. He still gets some fantasy points throughout these last couple weeks for the Texans. So Nico Collins it is. You're not going to be covered by Adoree Jackson maybe. And then I'll go with Chris Myrick. Give me a touchdown.
Chris Myrick in the kick off 3rd round. He can't be stopped. That's a fact. Danny, your 3rd pick. Nico Collins. I want to see Fabian Moreau shut down Nico Collins. Danny, your 3rd pick.
So I get to trade this pick as well if possible, right?
Yeah.
I'm going Kenny Galladay.
He's playing though.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure because I just looked at ESPN and they said 0 points. I'll talk more about Kenny.
Oh, no, you won't. Will you really?
Oh, I knew it. I
Son of a
knew it.
bitch.
I knew that Danny was going to take it.
Son of a bitch. Thinking can go. All right, I'm going off the wall. Rex Burkhead. He gets no rushing
Love it.
yards,
Love it.
but he's 3rd. I think he might even be 2nd on their team in targets. He gets a lot of targets. He's their receiving back. And I'm gonna go with the guy who got a good amount of points the other day. I'm gonna go Tanner Hudson. He's kind of their number 1 receiving tight end right now. I'm gonna go Tanner Hudson with my last pick. Danny, what's your last pick?
Hang on, I'm just currently trying to pull up the
I'm currently trying
Texans
to figure
tight
out
end. So I'm
Oh,
confused.
Danny, you're a
They
fan
have
of
3
revenge
different tight
games.
ends.
You're a
I
fan
am
of
a-
revenge games, right?
Yeah, who's on this team?
Oh, come on.
Oh, wait.
He was a
it's-
Texan, and then he was
Yeah,
a Giant, and now he's
forgot.
a Texan again.
Wait. Oh, now I'm lost on this one. Oh, isn't it the... No, it's not
Come
him.
on.
It's
Jordan Akins.
Jordan
Screaming
Akins?
at you.
Oh, I wasn't going to take Jordan Akins. I was going to take the guy
you
that's...
should.
I was going to take the guy that's in front of him. I was going to take Brevin Jordan.
Brevin Jordan. I love Miami guy, man. I mean, I've watched him catch a touchdown at the Cheez-It Bowl.
Based off the depth chart, he's the backup tight end, and I've been told I haven't been taking enough backup tight ends. So based off the Texans depth chart, give me Brevin Jordan.
All right, Justin, finish it off. I think there's an easy one here.
You should take Jordan Jenkins.
Philip Dorsett. I mean, he's the third receiver for the Texans.
Yeah, Philip Dorsett. Another back-to-back Miami players.
How do you like that?
Woo!
That might, back in the day, that would be like a normal, like Miami, the touchdown streak. I love Brevin Jordan. I also love Philip Dorsett, but again, I am very, very biased. All right, so the recap: Justin has Saquon Barkley, Nico Collins, Chris Myrick, and Philip Dorsett. Danny has Damian Pierce, Darius Slayton, Kenny Galladay, and Brevin Jordan. I have Wan'Dale Robinson, Brandon Cooks, Rex Burkhead, and Tanner Hudson. All right, time for Giant Factors. Justin, you have the first pick.
Xavier McKinney, are you out for the season? Don't know. Dane Belton, you are my Giant Factor for this Sunday. Odds are you're going to be the deep safety, but whatever role that Wink Martindale wants to put you in, you're going to have to take a step up. Your snap share is going to go up. The safety depth chart's getting a little bit smaller. Show that you are a draft pick that isn't just mid. Go out there, make a play, continue to make some good tackles, but I want to see some pass deflections. Let's see some plays being made in the pass game. Dane Belton, you are my Giant Factor.
You have the second pick.
Because obviously he's coming back this week, and what's his role going to be? That's the big question mark. It's been a question. He's basically contributed nothing to the Giants since he's gotten here, and he's been out since week 4 against Chicago. Kenny Galladay is interested to me this week because I was seeing his press conferences, and he has almost like a newfound energy to me. Like, I think right before he went down, it was obvious he was hating his time here. He was like, I don't know why I'm here. They're not using me, blah, blah, blah. And then this week, he's like, I'm just excited to get back out there with the guys because he was seeing them winning. And he just has like a newfound energy to me. And once again, I don't know what he's going to be doing this week, but something feels different with Kenny Galladay. And I think this week he's going to go out there, score his first touchdown as a Giant, because I don't believe he has a touchdown yet. If I do, then just, well, screw that. But without Kadarius Toney, he has a role now in this offense because the other wide receivers are not getting the job done just outside Darius Slayton. Marcus Johnson, meh. Richie James, meh. David Sills exist. So Kenny Galladay, go out there. Hopefully they give you the snaps, and when they go out there and give you the snaps, just play your heart out. I think Jones will find you. You'll have a touchdown this week, especially against the Houston Texans. If there's a week for Kenny Galladay to get himself going, it's this week. And we've seen Darius Slayton get himself out of the doghouse in this new regime. I think Kenny Galladay could do the same thing. I'm not sure if he has a long-term future here, but I think he can establish himself now and set himself up well for after the season.
Kenny Galladay, what's going to happen for the rest of your career? Like, these next 9 games have a big factor of what happens to you for the rest of your NFL career. If he could be the player that he was last year with Daniel Jones, which is 53 yards per game, a 61% catch rate, that's our best wide receiver by a decent margin, probably too. Like, that's a huge addition to this Giants offense and what they need. Just last year, a disappointment last year, but that is a huge addition to the Giants offense. So Galladay was going to be mine, but Danny stole it.
Tough.
Mine's going to be Mike Kafka.
Whoa!
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
We're allowed?
We've got the personnel.
We're allowed to do
points.
that?
I think it's fair.
If you're allowed if someone steals yours.
Oh, you just made that rule up on the spot.
That is true.
You just made that up right now.
And? I just had to make up my Giant Factor right now because Danny stole mine.
Your show. Go ahead.
Mike Kafka. They are a bad defense,
so
man.
funny.
We should run up the score on these guys. Like Justin said, we haven't scored 30 points on offense since Pat Shurmur was the head coach of the New York Giants, since the Andrew Thomas Bowl. Give these guys the shot. Don't play afraid. Coach this offense the way you would the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Like, go out there and try and score as many points as possible. Run the ball a ton, throw it deep, get the ball vertical. Mike Kafka, you are my Giant Factor for Week 10. All right, time for spread picks. Danny, who are they brought to us by?
Oh, I mean, as always, our spread picks are brought to you by our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Because baseball season's over, but the NBA action is just getting started, and so are the incredible offers over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA pre-game moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. All you gotta do is go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, total rebounds, total point scores, and more. Now, I know a few people that I put onto the DraftKings app, and they love it, so that's all I'm going to say. I think I'm a reliable source. And I once again, I'm not a big basketball guy, but I was just looking at the games because I just wanted to throw a pick out there. I see tomorrow night the Cleveland Cavaliers are underdogs against the Warriors, who are not very good right now. Hopefully my roommates didn't hear that. They're plus 1.5 point favorites. So if I had to throw down a little NBA money, throw it on the Cleveland Cavaliers to get the job done. Because with payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go, and you all should also go to bet on the NBA. So right now, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code JOHNBOY, make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code JOHNBOY. And as always, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
First time in Talking Giants podcast history where my mom almost interrupted the show.
Whoa.
All right, spread picks. They're tight. They are tight.
Ooh.
Danny's still in first place at 35-34. He went 2-4 last week. Justin went 2-4 last week. I went 3-3 last week. We actually had 2 pushes last week, which is why there's only 6 games on the record. Myself and Justin are 1 game back at 34-35. And then the listeners they're not even that far back, though. It's just because it's so tight. They're 31-38. So they're only 4 games off the lead. They went 4-2 last week. So this is not a Danny runaway train here anymore.
No.
Thursday Night Football, probably the worst. I think this is worse than Colts Broncos. I really do. Because there's at least like Russell Wilson talking like Falcons at Panthers plus 2.5. PJ Walker's so bad, even though they did put up like 30 points in that one game. I'm going Falcons minus 2.5. Like you can't let the Panthers beat you on Thursday Night Football.
They're still starting PJ Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially even after last week when Baker came in and just
Well, their coach did make a good
better.
point. He's like, if we were benching people off of bad performances last week, we'd be benching the whole team.
But
That's not a good point.
PJ
It is
Walker
a good
not
point,
gonna
but
win you
shouldn't.
games.
PJ Walker shouldn't be playing over Baker Mayfield. Sam Darnold's in a spot where he might get a start again. It's Carolina's QB situation is so funny.
Oh, I forgot about Darnold.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going Falcons minus 2.5. The listeners, represented by Scott Mitchell, is going Falcons minus 2.5. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, Falcons 6-3 record against the spread. Carolina 3-6. Give me Atlanta minus 2.5.
Danny.
Oh, he's sneezing. I was gonna let the camera say. Justin took the words out of my mouth. Falcons 6-3 against the spread. Panthers bad against the spread. Falcons 2.5.
All right, we all agreed, so I'm not even going to put a tweet out this week. I don't need the jokes. Oh, Panthers easy. Actually, you know what I am going to do? I'm not going to let these annoying...
Don't let these hooligans
I'm so
get
glad
us
that
down.
we don't actually do gambling content because gambling Twitter is quite... It's kind of like fantasy football Twitter.
Literally, the two worst.
Where it's just like a non-stop like dick measuring contest. All right, next game. In Germany, the Seahawks at the Bucks minus 2.5. The listeners are going Bucks minus 2.5. Tom Brady in Germany. Justin, you just snickered at them.
Yeah,
what are you going?
The Bucks are favored. The Bucks are favored on a neutral site.
Yeah, I mean Seattle. Think about how far Seattle. Maybe Seattle like pulled a Christopher Columbus and went west. You know, even though went west instead of east to Germany.
Is the plane ride over and the distance? That's why the spread's minus 2.5. Give me Seattle.
I'm going Seattle too. I just think they're a better team than the Bucks, which is crazy. Like the Seahawks, like actually have some decent talent. They did a great job with their draft this year. So I'm going Seahawks. Danny, what are you going?
Yeah, I have to agree with you all. I just don't understand how the Bucks are favored. Like, unless like the NFL scripted it for the Bucks to win in Germany. the Seahawks are a better team right now. And plus, this Bucks would have lost last week if it wasn't for that pass interference call. It's as simple as that.
I mean, did I get that right? Let me make sure.
No, you're right.
No, you are right. I saw people saying earlier in the week, like, why are the Bucks favored? And also the Giants.
But whenever
line,
that happens, that team ends up winning. Like Vegas gets rich off those games.
Well, the Giants line has moved 2 points in favor of the Texans. It was 6.5 to start the week. Now it's 4.5. It moved Thursday morning.
Are we favored or the Texans favored?
No, we're favored, but it was to start the week. It was Texans or it was Giants minus 6.5, and now it's 4.5.
Oh,
why?
Vegas.
Like, why? Well, McKinney? Why?
I got a feeling Scott Mitchell and the listeners are going to be laughing at us for some reason. Like, it's just whenever we laugh at a line, it just ends up coming back at us. And if the Panthers win tonight, I'm going to be really pissed off. All right, so we're all going Seahawks, except for the listeners. Browns at Dolphins minus 3.5. Danny, what do you got in this one?
No place more I love than Miami, and Miami is a good football team. The Browns, they're still weathering this rocky ride until that loser comes back in a few weeks. So give me the Dolphins and good old Tua Tagovailoa.
Justin, what about you?
These two teams are really close together in terms of their productivity. They're kind of bad defensively. The Dolphins are obviously good offensively. The Browns are like sneaky good. I'm going to trust the team that throws the ball more. Give me Dolphins minus 3.5.
The Browns play everyone tight. They run the ball like really, really well. I think the Dolphins will win this game, but I think they're going to win it by field goal, and the listeners are agreeing with me. I'm going Browns plus 3.5. Is this game of the week? Vikings at Bills?
100%.
Allen is maybe... I think Allen will play, but maybe not. Like... This might be a game that Josh Allen doesn't play. I think the Bills' injuries are bigger than, like they're actually hurting them. Like their injuries to their safety, some other players, their injury like Tre'Davious White, their injuries are hurting them. Vikings are 7-1. I'm gonna go I'm gonna take the Vikings plus 3.5. Like the Bills are a little bit of a broken team right now, comparative to their expectation. Justin, what about you?
I think if the Bills were on the road, I'd pick differently here, but I think Bills Mafia is going to show up. I think the inexperience of the coaching staff is going to show up here for the Vikings, so I'm going Bills minus 3.5, and Leslie Frazier I trust.
All right. Danny, what about you?
I just realized, I hate that I'm going to do this, but with Josh Allen's UCL sprain, how much is he going to be hampered by it? Because I imagine they don't want to risk his long-term health in this one game. I mean, Kirk Fuggins is looking pretty cool right now, and he's on fire. As much as I love the wagon circling, I think this is going to be an upset that the Minnesota Vikings will go into Orchard Park, beat them Bills, stop the wagons from circling, and stake their claim as one of the top teams in the NFC.
Isn't it funny that I think early in the year, the Vikings lost their one game, and then I gave up on Kirk Cousins, and now
it was to the Eagles, who were 8-0 too.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I feel like it was obvious it was gonna happen because you've been at Kirk Cousins, you've been singing his praises. We're all like, Justin, why are you singing Kirk Cousins' praises? They're like, I'm done with him, and we're all like, good, welcome to the club. And
he does have Justin Jefferson too, so let's not.
That's fair. That is fair. If he did not have Justin Jefferson, I imagine it'd be a much different story.
Which
and Dalvin Cook and Christian Darrisaw has been a really good left tackle this year. Listeners are going Bills. This game makes me, what I'm about to do, makes me want to punch myself in the face because it goes against everything I believe in. Colts at Raiders -6. Interim coach game. But this is not a real interim coach game, right? I think, the other Colts coaches have to be pissed off at this. So I don't think they're, and I think the players are rolling their eyes on this. So there's not going to be that fire. There's not going to be that fire deep down to pull out the best. So I'm going Raiders -6, even though they won't have Darren Waller or Hunter Renfrow. The Raiders have been the weirdest team ever where they've had 3 17-0 leads and blown them. But I'm going to go Raiders -6, man. This Colts team is just such a mess that I hate it. I hate it. But I'm going the Raiders -6. I'm going against where I always pick the interim coach. But this is not a real interim coach. John Fox is this coach. Gus Bradley is coach. I'm picking them. Jeff Saturday, a guy who's anyway. I'm not gonna the whole ESPN people, by the way, or media friends and people I like have been defending Jeff Saturday because he's their media friend. Oh my gosh, that pisses me off so bad. It's like if this was not someone you guys knew, you guys would be ripping this to shreds. Anyways, I'm going Raiders. Justin.
I'm sticking with it. Colts +6.
I'm envious of you. Danny, what are you going?
I agree with you, Bobby, unfortunately. Jeff Saturday, I believe, has a losing record, or his last season as a high school football coach, he went 3-7. Now, once again, basically, I understand what Jim Irsay was trying to do. It would make sense if this was the Colts team of old with like Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, T.Y. Hilton, anyone that actually played with Jeff Saturday. Is there a single Colts player on this team that's played with Jeff Saturday? I don't know. So that's the issue. Like Bobby said,
this is insane what they're doing, by the way.
Yeah, they're
this should not, like, the idea that this is not that, like, this is insane. He doesn't even know the plays.
Yeah, because
he doesn't know the people. He doesn't know anybody.
Like I can't say like they're bringing.
This is like hiring Sean O'Hara to be the Giants head coach.
Yeah, literally, it's not like they're bringing some like I can't. It's like they're bringing some bum off the street, even though he's not some bum. I understand he's one of the best centers who have played the game, but like when you don't know, when you've not been part of this team forever and you just don't know the plays, it's just mind-boggling. It's almost like Jim Irsay saying he's not tanking. How is this just not a tanking move? This is basically, you know what this is? This is
also,
when the Texans.
Frank Reich's not a coach that deserves to be fired this early in the season. Anyway.
I agree. I agree with that.
If you fire him at the end of the year, like that's totally fine. But he's not like a disaster of a head coach where he needs to be fired right now.
And the other thing is, what was the thing? This is like what the Texans.
People are like, well, they're just tanking. Like that's not like.
No, I think they are.
That doesn't work in the NFL, by the way. Like that's not a good reason. Tanking does not work in the NFL.
Well, I mean, they tanked for Andrew Luck. Jim Irsay, I do think, adamantly believes in this, though, which is the scary thing, because
they tanked for Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck was out of the league because the first 4 years he was getting just destroyed, and Andrew Luck was one of the best QB prospects ever. Were they taking for C.J. Stroud, an Ohio State quarterback?
First off, I grew up idolizing Jeff Saturday because I loved anything that had to do with the last name Manning growing up. I really loved watching Peyton Manning growing up. I think he's a better, like, in their primes. Like, it's crazy how Tom Brady, like, in his 40s was still in his primes. I think Peyton Manning is the best quarterback in his prime in NFL history. I'm sorry.
Best regular season quarterback of all time.
How have we got here?
But I'm talking, like, talent-wise at the QB position. Peyton Manning.
People are going to say talent-wise, they're going to say, like, Michael Vick or something. But best regular season QB of all time, Peyton Manning.
Talking about thrower the football and brain and able to lead an entire team. With the Colts never had, like, spectacular, awesome teams either. So I grew up idolizing Jeff Saturday, and Jeff Saturday ain't going to believe in no analytics, and he ain't going to believe in getting scared by no analytics because Jim Irsay said that NFL coaches are scared of failing.
The Colts had bad defenses, but they did have, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Edgerrin. I mean, they had some dudes.
Wait, can I make one more just quick point? If I'm the Texans, I'm looking at this very closely because they want to hire Josh McDaniels. Josh McCown as their coach. McCown. It's as obvious as day. I would take this. Obviously, it's a different situation because McCown will have time to implement something, but see how a Colts team responds to this. That's my thing. If the Texans.
Or just don't hire Josh McCown.
They shouldn't. Don't get me wrong, but they, for some reason, seem press on it.
I think they should.
Cardinals at Rams -1. I don't know if Stafford's going to play, but I already wrote down Rams -1, even though I crossed it out. But then I was like, you know what? You can't do that. Rams -1 because I wrote it down. They have to. If I go 7-1 this week, I'm going to be pissed. I won't be happy. I'll be a very unhappy 7-1. I'm going Rams -1. Danny.
I don't know where SoFi Stadium is in relationship to State Farm Stadium, but I imagine SoFi Stadium is about to become like basically the Cardinals' second home this week because no one goes.
The Cardinals are a second home for some teams. Like when they play the Cowboys, they make you buy like 2 tickets, because Cowboys fans take it over.
But this is Cowboys fans though. Rams fans don't show up, and I still think the Cardinals have time to get something going, and the Rams are still very vulnerable right now. So give me Arizona.
The listeners are agreeing with you, Justin. Who are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go Arizona.
All right. Cowboys at Packers +5. Mike McCarthy makes his return to Lambeau. That being said, I know the Packers have just lost. And anytime it's like they can't keep losing like this, and they do. But 5 points is a lot. They did cover the spread versus the Bills the other couple weeks ago on Sunday Night Football. So I'm going to go Packers +5 on this. Danny.
Man, I mean, the Packers are bad, and the Cowboys are. I'm gonna have to go Dallas. I just can't ride this Aaron Rodgers team because how bad he looked against Detroit last week.
Justin.
Is this a Sunday night game?
America's game of the week.
Yeah, it's either Sunday or Monday. Sunday night. Yeah, I think the next game is Sunday night.
All right, if this is the Sunday night game, then the Packers will cover.
It is not Sunday night.
It is not Sunday night? Well, Bobby's already writing it down.
No, I didn't write it down. I didn't even write down a letter. So go. What do you want?
So, Danny, this is America's game of the week. This is not
This
Sunday
is
night.
4:25 on Fox. The next game is Sunday night.
All right,
Chargers.
then the Cowboys are going -5. Cowboys -5.
Can you even call it America's Game of the Week if you don't have Buck and Aikman? All right, last game. Chargers at 49ers -7. That's a huge spread. But the Chargers kind of suck this year. And they just play. They've beaten some bad teams. They lost to some bad teams. But Justin, what are you going in this?
Is this the Sunday night game?
Yes.
49ers No. Chargers. They're gonna cover.
Danny.
I put my sorry, I just saw a Twitter blue thing that just killed me. I put my hype in the Chargers this year. I was wrong. It will be the Niners winning this week on the good old Sundayest of night of football.
I'm excited to get a full glimpse of like this new 49ers team. 49ers -7. The listeners are going 49ers -7. All right, time for score predictions for the Giants and the Texans. Danny, what do you got?
I got two real quick. Ithaca versus SUNY Cortland at Yankee Stadium this week. If you go to SUNY Cortland or know anyone, y'all suck. Just hate to break it to you. Bombs win that game.
That kind of sounds like a fun atmosphere. Football game at Yankee Stadium. I would be down to go to that.
It's called the biggest little game in the nation. It's a D3 game, but it actually is like very like well known. It will be a sold out stadium. I guarantee you that. So go Bombs, go Bombs. Justin, I guarantee you, I better see you there. Besides the point, Giants-Texans.
Justin,
Giants
you should go.
I'm calling a high school game on Saturday. Can't.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
The playoffs? Mm-hmm. I wanted to go to the playoff game. By the way, high school football is so bad. Like, like I watched NFL for so long. They just they're just bad at football.
You gotta watch good high school football though.
Also,
that's what you gotta watch though.
Yeah. I got us so off track. I'm sorry about that, but Justin, the guy you were standing next to in that photo, holy cow, he is
that's
fucking
the thing.
giant.
Was that the Notre Dame kid?
Yeah, shout out Nick. You know, he's a Talking Giants listener. He plays left tackle for Notre Dame. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that
not the college
not the high school, Notre Dame High School in South Jersey. I mean, but I'm not going to sit here and say that's the size of all these linemen and all these kids in North Jersey, for football, but that's what like this Super Football Conference brings in North Jersey. I mean, these kids, these are kids. They're built like grown-ass men, and it's very, very fun to watch them go to work and battle every week, and I love it.
Danny.
Scott, it's all topic. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. Giants are going to win.
Hurricane pod. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not. This game feels like a trap. Not gonna lie to you. The Texans just got nothing to lose. We did lose coming in out of the bye week. Unfortunate situation. Giants win. Slop fest. A real slop fest this week. I'm going 18-14. Giants barely pull it out.
Yeah.
The Texans. I
don't even like that prediction. I don't care if it's a Giants win.
Okay, well, it's a prediction that we got because I feel like a trap. It's a trap.
Justin.
The Giants, for the first time since 2019 against the Washington Commanders, since the Andrew Thomas Bowl, will score over 30 points. Final score 32-17.
Danny, was that Twitter blue the Yankees signing Aaron Judge to 9 years, $530 million? Because that's the one that just popped up on my timeline.
No, it's someone parodied
New York Yankees.
A former tight end that played in the league. He was a New England Patriots tight end.
Someone needs to make a fake Twitter blue for Adam Schefter about Dallas Goedert being punched in the face by Giants podcaster Bobby Skinner.
Ooh.
Can we just do that?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to lose the account, sure.
We could just make an account. Maybe we'll do it with... I don't know. Giants got to you got to dominate this Texans team. Like, I'm not going to be feeling good squeaking out a win in this game. I want to see domination. Like, I want to feel like, man, we are just flat out better than this trash team. Like, how dare this trash team try and play us and feel like they can win this game. So Giants 77, Texans 0. It feels good to be back, and we will be back on Monday with a victory podcast talking about the what? The 7-2 New York Football Giants. We appreciate you guys. You guys have a good weekend. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.